Quad Geeks. This is JJ again. I'm going to start this review off with an apology because everything that I've tried to do with this review, or overview as I like to say, has been pear-shaped, and none of it's gone right. I originally did the review for this quad with a different camera and did an unboxing, all that good stuff, and it went ass end up. Long story short, anyway, here's what we got. So this is the awesome Q95, absolutely amazing quad. The original video that I did for this, I unboxed it, and it was all stock and is how it's supposed to be, and that's, it all went ass end up. Anyway, this I ordered from GearBest. This is my first brushless micro quad, and I absolutely am in love with this thing. I bought the plug and play version because I use radio link transmitters, and it didn't come with that, so and it was like $100, something like that. There's a ton of reviews out there for this, so I'm not going to get, be measuring carbon and all that stuff. I just want to go over what I think of this. I put the prop guards on it because I bought it for a yard flyer, and I don't want to chop my kid up. So absolutely phenomenal for what it is. I bought this primarily because it's running the Omnibus F3, which is the board that I run in every quad and drone and brushed quad, everything that I have. Absolutely love it. It's a 10 amp 4-in-1 ESC, and what are we sporting here? 1103 7500 kVs, 7500, yeah. Great machine. I'm going to go through the changes. If you want to watch a review that has all the stock issues on this thing, go ahead. This is the JSONified version. So I did chop off the original connector, put on an XT30. I wiped out the Betaflight that it came with, put the newest Betaflight on there and tuned it to my specs. I'll put a dump in the description below. So if you want to copy it over so it flies perfectly out of the box, please feel free to download that from my Dropbox and do that. It absolutely perfect. What else did I do? The camera, this is a Omnibus F3 obviously, so it does have OSD capabilities. However, they did use a camera that did not have a video in, video out feed, so the OSD is not hooked up. So I hacked the camera, ran it down into the board. If anybody wants to know how to do that, I will more than gladly help you do that. So the OSD works perfectly on it. What else did I change? I did put the guards on, as I said. I hot glued my camera at a different angle, put in my receiver, and other than that, I think that's about it. In the Betaflight, and it just flies amazing, and I am so impressed with this. And like I said, this is my first brushless quad. I'm a little bit behind on this, obviously. These things are coming out like all over the place. And I'm pissed I wasn't into this sooner with these. I've got, 8 or 9 full-size quads, and then I've got 8 or 9 brushed micros, and I got 4 or 5 GPS drones that I've built. So I have a lot of gear, but this thing is just absolutely amazing. If you haven't gotten one yet, get one. Whether it's this one or one of the myriad 50,000 other ones that have come out on the market, they're just an absolute blast. You can fly them in your yard, and it's like flying a real quad. Not even comparable to a brushed model. And I love the brushed models. They're absolutely great. But this is well worth it. I ordered parts actually to build another one that's going to be a similar frame to this guy here, only this size here. Hopefully those will be in pretty soon. I didn't have the batteries. I ordered this from GearBest, and I ordered my little mini 3S batteries from Banggood, and GearBest got this to me from China in about a week. And as usual, I'm still waiting on Banggood. So I was so impatient, I made my own battery. And the battery that I made is a little tiny 3S out of 1S batteries, 50C, and this thing is a brick, for what it is. 650 milliamp, which is way too big, and it's 50C, which probably isn't big enough on the C. And as you can see, comparatively, it's just like flying with a brick, and it did amazingly well. I couldn't help it. I had to fly, so it was absolutely great. I'll redo the DVR footage when I get the right batteries. I even screwed up the DVR footage. I didn't have my goggles recording, and I recorded halfway through the flight. So yeah, even that sucks. So I might just redo this whole thing later on. But I just wanted to get this out there. It's absolutely great. No complaints whatsoever. The only complaint I guess I have is that they used a camera that didn't have OSD. For those of you that want to hack that camera, I use these particular cameras in just about everything. From 3D printed micros to your standard brushed micros, to other standard brushed micros. I mean, I have a lot of these. What you do, looking at it like this, there are 3 connectors. I don't have a brand new one to show you, but there's 1, 2, 3 here. The bottom one is actually your video in and video out. I take a Dremel tool with this type of cutting wheel, and you can use just a snipper like this, but it's a little cleaner doing it with the Dremel, and I will literally cut through here and disconnect that connection. Then you wire your video in wire to here, and your video out to this side, and you will get your OSD. And these little dudes on Banggood, I think you can get them for $16 off Amazon. They're about 20, and they work fantastically. As you see in the DVR that I'm going to put up after this, you can see all your information. So you can hack these fairly well. So that is what I did with this quad. I hacked that camera as soon as I got it, wired it in, bada bing, everybody's happy. One of the other tricks that I do with these cameras, and I have never ever broken one of these antennas, and this is why. What I'll do is I'll take hot glue, and I'll put my hot glue gun on the highest setting, so it's really, really, really hot, and I'll put glue around the circuit board, from the circuit board up to about here. Then I'll slide a piece of heat shrink tubing over it right away, and that'll shrink around it, but what it makes is like a plastic core inside up to about here. Then obviously I take a lighter and I heat shrink the rest of it. And I fly like an idiot, as we all know, and I have never broken one, ever. It will save your antenna and save the life of your antenna quite a bit. So I do recommend you do that on everything. I did waterproof it with conformal coating. In case you haven't seen that, this is conformal coating off Amazon. Again, I think it's like $15, $20, and you just paint this onto your circuit boards. Plenty of reviews out there on how to do this. I do that with every quad I have, because if there's one puddle in the middle of a desert, I will find it. So I waterproof that as well. So I coated all of these. The wiring did look good. Some of the reviews that I've watched on this quad, this back unit with the beeper and the 2 LEDs was loose. Mine is not. Mine is perfectly fixed on there. Didn't have to touch it. Another review that I saw, when they got their unit, it was wired improperly and they had a direct short and it fried the board. So one thing I do suggest you do, mine was fine, take your fluke meter and give it a proc test here. Put it on continuity, test this, make sure you don't have a direct short before you plug in the battery. This will run off of a 2S or a 3S. I jumped straight to 3S, hence my little easy bake oven brick here. And mine had no problems at all, but that's not to say that yours didn't. Maybe the person wiring yours that day had a hangover. So definitely check that. I think he said it was the 5-volt line going from the LED to the board, if I remember right. The PID settings that I used for this, everything in Betaflight that I used for mine is my own except the PID settings. The PID tuning I got from Andy RC, so thank you for that, and they do work perfectly. Like I said, I'm putting my CLI dump file link in the description of this video, so if you want to download it and dump it into this, the only thing you'd have to change is your mode settings and That's probably about it in an S bus if you're not. I'm using S bus, but so thank you Andy RC for that, because he had this thing dialed in absolutely perfect, and I did some test flights in it. I just love this thing. Absolutely, probably the happiest I've ever been with buying a pre-built unit. And I usually don't buy pre-built units, meaning quads, ever. I always build my own stuff, and the next one I will be building. One other thing, these props, these motors, this kit did not come with screws for the props. I don't think you can fly it without them. I didn't even try, because the props do fit on relatively loose. Not loose, but loose enough for the torque this thing has. So definitely, I actually bought some spare props that came with a ton of screws, so I was okay. But you will definitely want to do that. Other than that, though, it came with 2 sets of props. It came with prop guards, or it came with, I put these on, but it also came with motor bumpers, and they have standoffs. I cut the standoffs off because I don't like that. I have enough problems hitting trees. I don't need to be hanging out even more. I think that's it. This has been a rambling ass review. I know. I apologize. It's not how it was supposed to go. And like I said, even the DVR footage sucks. But this review is sponsored by Sailor Jerry's Rum, and happy flying. So keep the shiny side up, and stay tuned for the DVR. Take care.